guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing another movie review. This movie is a thriller from South Korea, Korean language English subs, released in the year 2015, directed by Won Chang-hong, and this film is called Office. So Office is about a man who goes from his office place into his family home. He kills his family with a hammer and he disappears. So the detective in charge of the investigation wants to get to the bottom of why he's done this, and the clues that he has when he's going into the investigation leads him to the office that he used to work at. So when he interviews these colleagues, he believes that the detective believes that they're hiding something, and what they're hiding suggests that the killer is not finished yet. In fact, he's going to take care of unfinished business, and he's going to kill a few more people within the office. And so the detective has to get to the bottom of this dark secret if he is to stop this killer from killing again, and whether or not he can is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now, my thoughts on Office. As far as South Korean standards are concerned, this is definitely one that is not up to it, but if you are a fan of South Korean cinema, I would still definitely go out there and see it, because it is very interesting in what it does. But if you're on the fence about South Korean cinema and you haven't been won over yet, then Office is probably one that you could skip the opportunity on, is because it just doesn't have that memorable quality that a lot of other South Korean films have, because there are slightly more negatives than positives. But I will say the biggest positive to this film is not only is it a thriller and a mystery, but it's also a movie that depicts workplace environments, and how workplace environments can border on bullying, and how unrealistic expectations of workers can have a very damaging effect on someone's psychology. And so this movie, I felt as though the office itself and the way the office was run was the villain, and that the villain in this film is a stereotypical sort of killer, but the killer is a result of the environment that he was placed under. And this is something that is very relevant in today's society. Not only is bullying confined to the schoolyard, but it can happen in adult life. And I think that bullying in adult life is very much overlooked, is because we always associate it with kids. But there are bullying moments in this film that are very subtle, is that this boss is putting them under extreme pressure, and there's only so much the human mind can take before they actually go over the edge. And so you've got a little bit of sympathy for this killer because of this psychology in this psychological battleground that is the office. And I thought that the office and the environment of the office and the consequences of the office were sculpting the bad people. And so it's not a standard sort of stereotypical villain that you get in this film. You get a villain who you can get a little bit of sympathy for, and you could feel to yourself, okay, well, everyone who is stuck in the workforce, not only in this office, but whether it's other workplaces, you do get this. You do get people who are put under extreme pressure, and that pressure can just be a little bit too much. And so it's a very psychologically tense film in that area, in that interesting idea that the film has, and I thought that that was by far the film's biggest plus. I thought the acting was very good to complement the claustrophobic feeling that the film had. It's definitely a film that takes place, majority of it is in the office, and so I just thought to myself, each and every one of these characters could crack at any minute, and that's what gives you the suspense, and that's why you don't know exactly what's around the corner. And so I thought the acting was good from the main character, this very innocent girl who doesn't know the ways of the world as far as office places are concerned, and I could feel as though the boss was taking advantage of that, and he was pushing this woman, and I didn't know where this woman was going to go, is because I could feel that she was starting to crack, but I didn't know what was going to happen. And so that was very good, and the characters around her were very interesting as well. I thought Sung Woong Park, who is a very good South Korean actor, he was the villain in the movie The Deal. In this movie he's not a villain, so it shows his versatility. Although his character isn't really used as much as I wanted it to, it's always good to see a very familiar face. Cinematography is very well shot. I thought that some of the set pieces were very nerve-wracking, and that's something I really liked. And I thought the face of this so-called villain was very haunting as well, is because I thought that all the goodness that he had in him, and it is evident that he was a good person because of the way that the colleagues talk about him, but I could sense that the pressure had just eaten away his soul, and it just feels like a soulless human being. And so that's something I really liked as well. But unfortunately, although the movie does go at a very brisk pace, it doesn't really get boring, I still thought there was a strong level of predictability, because when you go outside the very interesting idea that Office has, I just thought to myself, I've seen this sort of thing before. And the way that what happens to this main character was very predictable, because, as I said, it's a strong sense of deja vu. So it's a very dark film, and I like the way it finished, but unfortunately I could see the way it was going to finish. I could see what was in store for these people, and I could sense that the only thing that you don't know is whether or not these characters are going to crack at that specific moment or a little bit later. But there was always that inevitable quality that something was going to happen, and it does happen, and in the end what you get is a movie that you feel as though you've seen before. But I will say it's definitely recommended based on the fact that it has a very interesting idea that is very relevant in today's society. So for that reason, go out there and see it. But if you want a film that's going to blow you away, like a Kim Ji-woon movie, like I Saw the Devil, and all those movies that have really put South Korea on the map, this movie doesn't have the quality to really elevate it to there. There were moments in the continuity that I thought were very good, but there were moments that were a little bit lagging, and I think that lagging quality is down to the fact that it was somewhat predictable. So it's not a terrible film, but it's still not a movie that's going to really blow you away, and as a result of that, I'm only going to give The Office, or Office, 3 stars. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.